Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I hope you guys are staying safe with your family during this movement control order. So my name is Fakrujamil. I'm a travel and landscape photographer. I am also a Sony Alpha professional photographer for Sony Malaysia. I've been shooting landscape photography for the past 8 to 9 years or so. So today we are going to talk about how to shoot a basic time-lapse with Sony Alpha camera. What sort of equipment do you need to shoot a time-lapse? Well, you can shoot time-lapse with pretty much any Sony Alpha cameras and lenses. Then you just need a tripod and you're ready to go. So there is a two-way you can do a time-lapse. First, you can record a video for a certain amount of time. Then you can speed it up with a software later on. This method is pretty simple, but it lacks of flexibility to edit the time-lapse later on. Second way is to take a series of photos over a period of time and then you combine it together to create a time-lapse. As you may know, the Sony A7iii, Sony A7R3 and Sony A6400 now includes the built-in interval shooting, which allows you to take a series of photos over a period of time and then create a time-lapse. For those whose camera does not have this built-in interval shooting, you will need an intervalometer like this. It's a remote that allows you to take photos with interval. Then I always shoot in RAW no matter what, to make sure that I always get the highest quality out of my photos. As a rule of thumb, for quick moving subjects like people walking or cars driving, you can use an interval of 1 to 3 seconds. For slower moving subjects like sun setting or the clouds moving, you can use an interval of 5 to 10 seconds. So how to know how many shots do you need to take a time-lapse? You can use a time-lapse apps to calculate. Personally, I use PhotoPills application. So here we scroll down to time-lapse. And then to calculate, we just input our shooting interval. So now I know that I want to use 5-second interval. And the duration of shooting, I want to shoot for about 30 minutes. And then I want my output to be 25 frames per second because that is the standard format. Down here it shows us that our clip length is 14.4 seconds and number of photos that we need to take is 360 photos. So that's how you calculate on how many number of shots that you need to take. Okay guys, now I have already set up my camera near my house window. My house doesn't have a balcony, so we just shoot from this window for the sake of this video. Now I want to change my camera to aperture priority mode. So now it shows A, it means that my camera aperture priority mode. And I want to change the aperture to f11 to ensure that I get everything in focus. ISO, in this case we use the lowest possible ISO to ISO 50. And the shutter speed, the camera will determine automatically for you because you are using aperture priority mode. So now we want to go to the menu to turn on the built-in interval function. Interval function is located on tab number 1 and menu number 4. Here it is. And now it's off. You have to turn it on to take a time-lapse shot. Shooting start time is basically to delay a bit till I press the shutter to avoid any camera movement. So here I set it to 3 seconds, should be enough. And shooting interval, I set it to 5 seconds. As I mentioned earlier, if you're shooting a slow moving subjects like the clouds moving, so the interval should be between 5 to 10 seconds. So in this case, I'm using a 5-second interval. Number of shots, as I calculated earlier with using the time-lapse apps calculator, it shows that I need to take 360 shots. So here I set it to 360 shots and the shooting time is around 30 minutes. AE tracking sensitivity, which helps to smooth out the changes between each exposure. So we just leave it to medium. And now the silent shooting interval, if you don't want to hear your camera is clicking every 5 seconds, so you can turn it on. And then the shooting interval priority, also leave it on. Now I have already get my camera to be in focus, so you just take a shot. As you can see, the time-lapse shooting has started and it shows here my interval is 5 seconds. So the camera will take a shot every 5 seconds. And down here it also shows the number of shots currently taking. So now it's on shot number 7 of 360 shots total. Okay Okay guys, that's how you take a time-lapse shot, and let's go back to studio and edit the time-lapse. Okay guys, now we are back to my studio, so let's edit some time-lapse. I will be using Adobe Lightroom Classic CC to edit my time-lapse, so let's open it. But I will not be editing the time-lapse that I just took from my house window because the weather was rather gloomy. We're just gonna edit a different time-lapse. So this is the time-lapse that I want to edit today. It's actually a time-lapse taken from my apartment during sunset. So how to edit your time-lapse? So basically you just edit the first photos and then you just synchronize it to the rest of the photos. So let's head over to the first photo, which is here, number 1. Normally I just do a basic correction, basically just to recover some of the shadows in the bottom part of the photo, and maybe to reduce some of the highlights in the sky to retain the sunset colors. Okay guys, now we have done with our editing, so next we need to synchronize all the settings that we have done to the rest of the photos. So you can select all, or you press Ctrl A to select all, and then you click synchronize here, and then click check all, and then you click synchronize. So all the settings that we made to the first photo will be applied to the rest of the photos as well. Okay, so now we have done making all the changes to each individual photos, and what we want to do next is to export them to become a JPEG format. So now that our exporting has completed, now we want to combine the photos using Adobe Premiere Pro. And here is our edited time-lapse. Okay guys, I hope this tutorial is useful, and if you have any question, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching and stay safe.